I'm Victoria. I don't know if I introduced myself yet, but hi.
All right, yeah, and I'm Omar. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Omar. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So first thing, like, kind of introduce yourself. Like, where are you from? How'd you get into trading? Like, what's the gist of Omar?
Yeah, so pretty much I'm from New York City. I'm from Queens. I started trading forex specifically about 4 years ago, so I've been kind of in the game for a little while. And then I think prop firms actually started to become a lot popular last year, and that's kind of when I transitioned from like, all right, let me focus on trading my own money and then kind of trying out different prop firms, especially towards the back end of last year and more so this year. This year is where I'm trying to really ramp it up because I kind of, last year was kind of new, so, there's a lot of like questions regarding prop firms because you don't know if you're going to get paid out and stuff like that.
True. Yeah.
But now this year I'm kind of like focused 100% on that. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I've been trading 4 years now, profitably for about 2.
Okay.
And trying to make like a little bit of headway this year.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. So where did the interest for specifically Forex start? Have you tried stocks, futures, or crypto or any of that?
Yeah, so I actually started with stocks back at 2017, the end of 2016. But the problem with that is like you need a lot more money. And back then I was still in college, didn't really have a job, so I was trying to find a different way to trade. And one of my friends actually told me about forex in 2018 when I started, because he was like, "Hey, if you don't have enough capital, you can try out this other market." So that's when I kind of made that transition. So yeah, I actually started off with stocks and then eventually moved over to forex. And even now, I still trade like crypto. I know the funded trade. Well, they actually had crypto, but I guess they discontinued it for a little while because of the volatility. I still trade crypto though.
Okay, cool.
So forex and cryptos, it's pretty much everything. And then long-term portfolio is for stocks, but that's more long-term, not like day trading.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I did day trading myself too with stocks first. I feel like I guess that's like a good basic place to start. You do the stock, you're like, all right, and then you kind of like slowly dip your way into other things. I haven't done crypto yet though, but congrats to you. I'm actually so surprised that I haven't.
It's a good time actually.
Oh, absolutely.
While everything's down, yeah.
True that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, so you said the funded trader, is that the first prop firm that you've gone with before?
No, so I actually I started off with FTMO last year, so right now I only trade with FTMO and the funded trader.
Okay.
I was thinking about, because those are kind of the two, I think they both offer the best in terms of the programs they have compared to like other firms. So I had a 300K with FTMO, trying to get to the like max allocation. And once that's done, I'm trying to max out the funded trader, and then maybe go to other firms after that. I don't know. But yeah, those are the only 2 firms that I currently have accounts with.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And are they pretty similar, or do you favor one more than the other? Are they about the same? Like you said, they've got the same kind of benefits?
Yeah, so they both have their own pros and cons. Like for the funded trader, one thing I do like compared to FTMO was the max drawdown is like 12%. FTMO's max drawdown total is like I believe it's 10%.
Oh, okay.
And the daily loss limit for the funded trader is 6%, while FTMO's is 5%. So that's like one major pro with the funded trader, especially as you start to get bigger and bigger accounts, because the extra 1% and on the daily drawdown and the extra 2% on the max drawdown, it just gives you a lot more room to kind of play with,
Right.
Yeah, I would say they're both kind of neck and neck for me personally.
Yeah.
I haven't got a withdrawal with the funded trader yet, so I have to see how the withdrawal process is, because I know FTMO's withdrawal process is pretty fast.
Okay.
Like the dashboard, but I know the funded trader is relatively new. I think you guys just had like your 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still good. Everything is nice, clean in terms of like the back office.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, but like for 1 year only in the prop space, and to kind of like, having everything set up the way they do already, I think is like a really good sign.
All right.
Moving forward.
Cool. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Now, FTMO, do they have a community around their platform and their system, or is it you just use their prop firm? Is there any kind of like camaraderie? Is there like any other like community that you guys can engage with, or what's that like? What's your experience with that?
Nah, so that is one thing that is pretty unique about the funded traders. Like they actually have a whole Discord room
Right.
where people can kind of like, yeah, exactly, can kind of engage if people want to share their trade setups. They even have like specific like categories of people who are actually funded. So if you want to like speak to someone who's funded, and even though you're not, like you can actually engage with people who do have funded accounts and maybe gain some experience from them. FTMO, no, they don't really have that. I think they have like some trading videos on their sites and stuff like that, but like, you know, really basic information.
Okay.
But for the most part, they don't have like, yeah, like you said, that camaraderie or that community of traders that are all kind of like put together.
Cool. Okay. And that's what I'm putting together too, that the funded traders just got like this massive community and everyone's like very encouraging and they're like willing to help. So I think that's very cool. Good to know. And I've also just been with the funded trader just for about like 2 or 3 weeks now. So I'm super excited
congrats,
to get to know everyone. But yeah, and I have no experience with any other prop firms. So like this is all the information I'm getting. There had been another guy that I had interviewed and he said the prop firm he was with like just completely went out of business and they were like done. I was like,
oh yeah, I had an account with them and I didn't even get to get my first payout. So I just had to get a refund.
No,
which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah. That's what I was saying earlier. Like before, it was a lot of sketchy business with prop firms because it was relatively new last year, you know? That's why it was kind of, and the FTMO, they've been like the long standing.
Okay.
So that's why they were like the most trustworthy. But now, I mean, yeah, I would say the funded trade and a couple other firms have been here for like the last year where they've been proven to have like, you know, people getting paid out. The reviews are pretty good from what I've seen. That's why I kind of gave them a shot, especially at this year as I'm trying to get more money allocation. But yeah, I think you guys are doing a pretty good job, to be honest. And I like the fact that Blake and the other guy, I forgot his name, I think his name is Angelo, the founders. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's good that there's like a face behind them. So it's like,
absolutely.
Versus kind of just opening up a shop and then you don't know who the founders are.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a good benefit too. Okay. Well, the juiciest part of the interview, which everyone on YouTube is super into, is the strategy. Is there a strategy or even maybe like a version of a strategy that you want to share?
Yeah, sure. There's actually, so I don't know if you're familiar with like Smart Money Concepts or ICT or like that whole community of traders online, but that's primarily what I focus on.
Okay.
So let me see if should I share my screen or?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so like a very basic strategy I've been using, because right now on the account, I believe I'm up about like $16,000. So the majority of it actually came from trading Bitcoin on the account.
Okay.
And it's only been about like 2 weeks. My first payout isn't until June, but pretty much I like to trade like trends, and I like to trade like, you know, market structure. So at the very basic, even people who aren't necessarily like quote unquote smart money traders or people who don't trade that type of style, it's all basic concepts. So I like to find moves that are about to happen based off of like a potential trend, right? Because the trending moves, you get moves like this, where you get like accelerated movement to like one side or the other, and you can just like really capitalize on this. So one kind of like strategy that I kind of trade is just kind of mapping out what the current like market structure is, where if let's say, you know, price is kind of showing bearish signs. So if like, you know, price has a high, price has a low, then price is consistently making, you know, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. I'm looking to try to get in, especially if this is like on a daily time frame. I'm looking to try to get in a move where if the market pulls back, I'm trying to get in short and in sync with the overall context. Mm-hmm. And then let's say targeting prior lows in this example. And then kind of just work my way down to like, let's say lower time frames. And like I don't know if you know about Fibonacci, but that's kind of like the main tool that I've kind of been using throughout this bear market, where it's essentially if you want to try to get into a trending market, all you just do is just draw your fib pretty much from the high down to the low. Anytime the market kind of comes up into the 62, 70, and 79 retracement is typically where I would look for entry shorts. And this is kind of like the main focus of what I've been trading consistently for about almost a year and a half plus, where if I'm anticipating the market to kind of go lower and the market's showing me signs that it wants to go lower, once price kind of comes up into these regions, I'm looking for areas short on a lower time frame.
Gotcha.
So that's the majority of what I've been doing recently, and I have been doing honestly for a little while now.
Okay. And as far as the time frame goes, is daily usually what you trade in, or what's exactly the time frame that you use?
So I use the daily, weekly, and the 4 hour to determine where the direction is. Mm-hmm. So let's say for this example, right? Because this was actually one of the trades that I caught on the account. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, so if I'm on the daily time frame, right, and I'm anticipating, like, okay, price has been showing like weakness, right? If price has been showing like consistent lower lows, lower highs, I'm going to be looking for like an area of resistance to sell out, which is like this area right here, for example. And if price kind of comes up into there, I'm going to go down time frames in order to tighten up my stop loss, because I don't want the stop loss to be like, let's say if I just got in right there or right here, I don't want my stop loss to be above that high, because it's going to be a very wide stop. So what I'll typically do is I'll analyze, let's say, the daily, or right now I'm on the 4 hour. And if I see price kind of come up into this area, I'm going to start to look for rejections on, let's say, the 30 minute. So if price, for example, came up here, this was one of the trades that I caught. This trade actually got me out of drawdown because I started the account a little bit too aggressively.
Okay.
And right here, when price starts to go up, it overshoots it a little bit.
Yep.
Then once you start to see a little bit of rejection, price is ultimately failing to kind of push higher. Yeah, then you get that really big move. And I use these extensions as my target. So like the minus 0.27 is one of them. And this is usually a good area for me to take profits at.
Yeah.
And you see it respected it right there. And then, this was the majority of the move.
All right. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so typically the entries are 30 minute, 1 hour, but the overall framework for the trade is a daily chart and a weekly chart.
True. Okay. Very cool. I got to say, my strategy is pretty simple too. Also, I would say just same with trends. But what's neat is I guess it's better to. I usually do daily, but since if I'm looking at the same chart, like I'll probably only have to do daily, like maybe a few times. But it like once you look at it so many times, it's like you've already put your stuff on the chart, like you've got it. So I'd say I move from daily and then like a weird like 240 or 260, and then like also my way down like 30, and then I haven't done like 5 minutes in quite a long time.
The 5 minute can get a little bit distracting especially if you're looking for a bigger move,
Yeah,
some people will get distracted on those like lower time frames. But yeah, I mean, daily chart, the higher time frame charts, they're usually the good go-to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So with your trading, is there like any mistakes that you saw yourself do in the past that you've kind of fixed now, or like what's some things that you can relate to traders that are like fairly new that you did to start with and that you were able to fix now?
The thing is, a lot of people put like emphasis on psychology, but I think it's a big part. But I also think that some people should probably get educated first, because people just get into trading and they don't really know. Like everyone says, oh yeah, you can just go on YouTube, and I think YouTube is a good medium to start off. But I think at some point you kind of have to learn from somewhere, and you have to kind of learn the proper things, because that's what took me the longest, to be honest. Because like my first year and a half, I didn't even know what market structure was, because the mentor that I was with, like he was teaching like advanced concepts, but I never learned the foundations. And then that's why I was struggling in the beginning, because I never had that foundation of, all right, how do I even determine the direction for a specific move? So I think people should just get educated first, to be honest. That's the number one thing in my eyes, especially as a beginner. And then after that, once you get good at the skill set and you can see like, all right, I'm calling moves, I'm able to like see where the market is going. Now you kind of have to execute, because at the end of the day, this is kind of a performance type of sport. You don't get paid to know where the direction of the move. You actually have to get into the moves and actually execute. And that's where the psychological component kind of comes into play. So for beginning traders, I would say, make sure to learn first. And then once you learn, that's when the process begins to kind of fix your psyche, because you have to perform at the end of the day. It's just like sports. Like if in sports, you could be as talented as possible, but if you don't perform on game day, then it doesn't really matter about anything. Like the talent won't matter at that point. So That's why they both are important, the psychological part, but also having the skill set to actually be able to trade and know where the market is going.
Absolutely. That's cool. That's actually, to be honest, that's something I hadn't really put into consideration, because I mean, usually, like you said, people are just like psychology. Like You just got to be able to take losses.
Exactly.
But if you don't know what you're doing, like, sure, if you can take a loss, cool, but you got to know what you're doing.
It's 100%, you know, and I think, like, 'cause some people, they want to chalk it up to not having talent, in my opinion, to, oh yeah, it's just my mind, but that's not the case. I mean, don't get me wrong, for sure psychology is a major factor, right? But I think a lot of traders, they're just not that talented. Like in the beginning for me, right, I used to tell myself it was psychology, but I just didn't know some of the basic foundations. And now after I learned that foundation, psychology became easier because now I know what I'm looking for. Now I know what I'm actually doing. So psychology does become easier when you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, then I mean, you could have the best psychology in the world. You're just going to lose money slowly.
Right, yeah. It'll be a slow death.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. Very neat. Yeah, I feel like usually when people go into trading, they learn the psychology part first, and then they get the fundamentals down. And, I mean, I guess in some instances it makes sense. Like, sure, you do got to know how to be able to take a loss, and, like, you got to be able to understand that there's a separation between, like, your trading and you as a person. So I get that, too. But like you said, like, if you've got the fundamental stuff down first, then like the psychology of it will just like come naturally. So,
exactly.
Okay.
And I think, you can eventually, like you build up your mental fortitude over time too. So, but yeah, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So we've got a little bit of the strategy here. I'm totally into that. And you said this specific trade was the one that got you here?
No, so this was actually on the live account. So I remember I was in drawdown at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and then at this point in here, this is where I kind of went short, somewhere around here.
Oh, gotcha.
And then called majority of the move, and this actually pulled me back in profit after price made a new low. And yeah, so this trade actually was the one that got me out of drawdown on the live account. And then I was able to so far be up on the account about $16,000 right now.
All right, beautiful. All right. Now I gotta ask, so the way that the market is headed now, everyone's freaking out. They're like, buy the dip, or you need to get out. Like, I mean, I gotta ask, like, what's your perspective on the markets overall right now?
Specifically for crypto, right? Like, because that's what I'm kind of like thinking about, like long term. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I personally don't think it's done selling off.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, it really depends on like everyone's like time frame and like strategy, right? Because if you're day trading, it doesn't matter too much about direction. Mm-hmm. But for someone who, let's say, holding it for a very long time, right, you can just dollar cost your way average into like specific positions. So like for me, I personally think like Bitcoin might come down into here around 20K, 21K,
okay,
maybe even lower, right? But the way I'm trading crypto is, I'm not using any leverage. So if I'm buying any, let's say Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other coins, I'm kind of just dollar cost averaging my way down. Because I personally don't think that the market has kind of seen a bottom.
Okay.
Because it's just like, for me, again, it's just sticking overall with the trend. So the trend recently has been pretty bearish. So unless we start to maybe get above 40K, 45K, then maybe we start to consider new all-time highs. But yeah, I think that if someone's kind of just holding for long term, has an outlook of 5 to 10 years, these are good prices to start buying at. And if price continues to go lower, just invest money that you're willing to lose. Because again, I know a lot of people think Bitcoin is like the next big thing, but in markets, there's no guarantee in anything. So yeah, I think people should, if they're willing to take on some risk, dollar cost average at these price points, because these are solid levels. But I still think that overall Bitcoin probably heads maybe 20K, 13K, and then maybe we start to bottom out here.
I see. Okay, fair enough. All right, and you said
I mean, it'll be a good time for you to get involved into crypto too.
Right? Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and if someone missed this whole move up, you could, if it comes back down, good areas to start buying.
True that, absolutely. Now, here's the tricky thing, though, is I'm a day trader, so and I think that's maybe why I've been so hesitant to get into crypto is because my strategy is just more towards day trading.
It's like that long-term perspective. It's harder for day traders to kind of
it's so hard to grasp. Yes, it's incredible, actually. And I feel like I've got to learn an entirely new strategy, a new method, because it's just it is so hard to translate to long-term investing to day trading, because I'm just so used to all these ins and outs within the day, and then I'm done. So
yeah, no, I had that same exact hurdle to get through.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Have you tried have you tried scalping? You said, did you do day trading in the past or no?
Yeah, that's primarily what I do. So like my hold times are pretty much a few hours. I don't like scalping. Like for me, scalping is like, a couple minutes. I just think that's too short term. But I actually know a couple friends who are really good scalpers, and I think I like the concept of scalping too, because you're in and out. You're not over there worrying and watching. Because if you're holding trades for a few hours, you're kind of like checking your phone, making sure the position. Yeah, it's like a lot more trade management goes into that versus scalping. Scalping, you're kind of in and out, quick, easy. You don't have to worry about it. Be done with your day in like a couple minutes, half hour, an hour at most.
Right? No, I envy that.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I could do that too. It would make my life a lot easier.
All right. Well, I gotta ask. So you said you're in Queens?
Yeah, in New York.
First of all, way cool, and I can tell by the accent.
Thank you.
I'm from the East Coast too, but I'm from Florida.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you guys got some good sun down there.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm in LA now.
That's something we're lacking. Yeah.
Do you have much of a community of traders in Queens, or what's that like out there?
No, I mean, a couple of my friends trade and stuff, but I actually just have a group chat with some friends that I made over the years. Like the one who told me about forex, we have like a little group chat and stuff like that with just us. Like it's about like 15 people, and yeah, like those are the people that I kind of interact with on a day-to-day basis. Because as you know, like trading kind of gets a little bit lonely, sometimes boring if you're just kind of by yourself. You know? Yeah.
That's been me for like the past. How long have I been doing this? I think I've been doing this for like a little over 5 years. And like these interviews that I'm doing are so freaking fascinating to me because I don't know any other traders. So yeah, no, it gets pretty lonely.
Really? You don't know any other traders outside of Damn?
No, in person, to be honest, I have an uncle he was my mentor. And like you said before, for beginners, like, yeah, YouTube is cool. Like, go ahead and get at least an idea of the market or a strategy you're trading.
Exactly.
But you got to have, like, I don't know if it's a course or if it's a mentor, but, like, you got to have somebody, like, or something. Because I feel like just educating yourself it could be like a black hole.
The thing is, you don't know what you don't know at the end of the day. When you start something, you don't know the pitfalls, So you could be studying something that you think is right, and then it's completely, like, nonsense.
Yeah. Or you, like, get hit with something that you didn't learn yourself through, like, this like a journey of educating yourself, and now you're like, okay, well, what do I do?
Exactly. So it's kind of like having someone to hold your hand in the beginning is usually pretty good,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that completely. I gotta ask, have you watched any of so I know that there's also Nick with the Funded Trader. There's Nick and Angelo, and I think Blake. They do like this Discord.
He endorses them, so in some capacity, I know in some capacity he's involved with the Funded Traders.
Oh, okay, good. Then that makes me sound a little bit better.
He did an interview, I think, on his YouTube channel, where he was interviewing like one of the guys who had the biggest payout. So yeah, I think he's involved.
Okay, good. I haven't met Blake yet.
Okay, yeah.
So they do like this Discord thing, and I've been on like maybe 3 or 4 of them so far. But it's like the Discord app, and it's where like everyone just watches either. I'm pretty sure Angelo gets on there a few times, but Nick does it, I think, the most, is he'll just, like, hop on and just show, like, a strategy, and he'll, like, work through the whole week of, like, here's some of my ideas for this pair this week, and have you been on any of those, or do you watch just to kind of get an idea of other people's perspectives versus yours?
Nah, to be honest, like, I'm not, like, too involved in the Discord. I'm only there kind of, like, for the announcements. Just because, like, for me personally, I need focus when I'm trading. So if I get like someone, like if I'm watching something and I think it's like, let's say it's going to go up, for example, and then someone's like, oh, their thought process is going to go down. Now in my head, I'm starting to think like, oh, is it going to go down? And then,
oh no, true that.
Sidetrack from what I'm doing. Yeah. But no, I mean, that's pretty cool though. I think that's really helpful though. Like that, for someone who's like brand new or someone who's trying to get funded, if they can get someone's expertise, like Nick or Angelo or whoever is doing those, by all means, I think like whoever kind of needs that helping hand in the beginning, I think they should really take advantage of that because not many traders are willing to kind of do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I can see that if you've already got like your strategy in place and you've already got like kind of an idea of where you're going to go in the market, and then someone else is like in your ear, like, actually, no. I can see that definitely throwing you off a little bit.
Opposing view, you start
you're like, wait a minute, now are they right? You're doubting yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So
I gotcha. Okay, true. But okay. So last question before I end it is, and I know you already touched on this a little bit, but for new traders that are just getting into this, that are thinking like, okay, I've already given it like 2 years. Like, let's say it's the version of a trader that's like, they put in a year, they put in 2, and they're like teetering between this, I think I need to give up, this isn't working, or like, what am I not doing right? Like, what is your advice for those ones that are like, I'm at 2 years, like, where should I be right now? What, like, should I be seeing? What profits? What is your advice to them?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I actually posted on Twitter recently. It's like, when should a trader quit? So, because the thing is, this is like my personal opinion. Because just like any field, right? There's going to be people who are going to make it, people who aren't. And I think for beginners, they should kind of come into it with the idea like, hey, I'm going to give it, 2 to 3, 4 years outlook on it. Because the problem is, if someone comes into it with, let's say, like a 6-month outlook, or even just a year outlook, and they don't necessarily see profits, that's very, very normal. But right. I think a lot of people get discouraged in the beginning because they don't necessarily see the money coming in. And the thing is, with trading, it's so weird, because you could be making progress in terms of learning the craft, but like still make no money, which is like, if you listen to a lot of traders podcasts, a lot of like big traders now, they say the same thing, where it's like, in the beginning, it's tough because, you kind of think like, oh, is this thing worth it? Because it's been a year and a half, 2 years, I'm making like, no money. I feel like, you're getting better, but, the money is not coming into your account. So you think to yourself, like, is this thing worth it? So I think people coming into it should have that outlook, like, all right, I'm going to give this a real shot for like, a year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years, and then focus on like the actual process to get better at trading. Because as you get better, your psychology is going to improve. And then, I think I personally think it's worth it, because, all the money that I lost, year 1, part of year 2, I made it all back and some in like the back end of year 2, going to year 3, year 4. Right. And now with prop firms, oh man, like I really think people should, instead of focusing about the money part, just like, really get the skill set down, because man, you don't even have to risk your money anymore. Like if I had prop firms when I first started, I would have lost so much less money, because I probably would have blown money on the accounts, challenge fees, but I wouldn't be losing my own money, putting them into account. Let's say, put $1,000, blow it, put $1,000, blow it again, So I think people should really take the craft seriously, learn from someone who's actually been doing it for a little while, and who's willing to show like results, because obviously now, like, there's a lot of people out there who claim that they're profitable, but aren't. So I would suggest, like, for new traders to really, like, focusing on learning, not making money, and have a longer term outlook. And I think their chances for success really, really increases if they do that. And also, like, not to really like get discouraged, because it just takes a few months, honestly, to make majority of your money back once you really get the skill set down. Because especially with prop firms now, if you have a really good skill set, you can get 300K funding, 400K funding, and really grow these accounts. Like you can make, 5 figures a month pretty conservatively. And if you have someone who's like a high risk tolerance, they can really run those accounts up. So I think, just focusing on the process overall is going to really pay dividends down the line.
Oh, absolutely. Nice. This is way cool to ask that same question, because I get a different perspective every time. And yes, that's absolutely incredible. And I love that you are more prone to like the prop firm, and just also because it's new. But yeah, imagine like if traders like us like had that in the beginning.
Oh man,
how much more amazing that would have been. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much, Omar, for hopping on, and congratulations, by the way.
Oh yeah, thank you, Victoria. Appreciate it. All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.